Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to our discussion this afternoon. This is a special program that we have put together where we will be sitting down with quite a few women who are a part of our society that, speaks out on issues, are there to talk about the injustices and everything that is happening. So today is a special program where our focus and our discussion will be around the injustice against women in Guyana. Um, when we get into these programs, time usually goes quickly. So I want us to get right into what we are here to do today. And as I just stated, this discussion is to focus in on the injustice against women in Guyana, because we know that under the PPPC government, whether it is in this timing from 2020 to now, or prior to 2015, women have been facing great challenges under their rulership. And today we want to hammer in on that and talk about the issues affecting women. And there are some particular things that we will deal with today. But before we get into what we want to start with, I want to have the opportunity to introduce to you some of the women that will be in this discussion today. And just note that as we continue with these discussions, there will be other women who will be joining us at different timings, and we will keep the conversation going. I want to start out by introducing somebody who is not usually on these types of program with us recently, but she has always been in the struggle. She's always been there, fighting for women's rights and the citizens of this country in her own way. And of course, persons who follow her on social media will see how active she is as well on social media, talking about the issues. But it is rare that we get her to sit down on a discussion like this on live, and she is none other than Miss Chanel Smith Joseph. Welcome.
Let me correct you there, Chanel Smith
Chanel
Daniels.
Smith Daniels, sorry.
You're giving me my mother's name, Chanel.
I'm giving you your mother's name, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome, Chanel.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Good afternoon. It's rare to see you here, but we're happy to have you. And we know that you have a lot to contribute on this discussion as we go forward. With Chanel here,
Indeed.
yes, with Chanel, we have somebody else who is no stranger, of course, in this realm to having these levels of discussion. She's always on her Facebook page, doing the live, and of course she's a part of a more critical system that does a lot of work as well, the PNCR, and she works in the East Coast district as well. She is the chairman for that district, and she's doing so much in the fight for women and citizens in general. She is none other than Miss Robin Simon. Welcome.
Afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining. And last for the moment, but of course not the least, another person who is always in the forefront. She is a part of our parliamentary representation as well. She's the shadow minister of education. She's always in the forefront, always calling for whatever is needed at the time. Of course, she is the General Secretary as well for the Guyana Teachers Union. So she's no stranger to representing women, representing people and their causes in this country, especially when it comes to fighting for justice against this very wicked PPPC government. She is none other than Member of Parliament, Miss Coretta MacDonald.
Hi, ladies. Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to our listening audience. It's good to be here with you, especially with the likes of Mistress Chanel Smith Daniels. Wow. I'm honored.
All right. So I want us to roll right into our discussion. And I know there are a lot of things that has been happening, and especially when it comes to women's rights under the PPPC and citizens in general as well. And there are situations that would have occurred recently as well, where sometimes you beg to say, when does it stop? Where does the bus stop? Where do we come out, and where do we really hammer in the issues and hold this government accountable for the way it has been treating women in this country? And the most recent case that everybody has been talking about this weekend is that of the case of Miss Harris, who, from all signs, have been transferred with immediate effect from her position. And reason being given is that she allowed Miss, as I believe her name is Azor, if I'm calling it correctly, anybody wants to correct
Odlum,
me on the way I'm
Odlum.
calling her name, or better known as Mistress Brutus, who would have, from all grounds, seemed to have clearance from the court um, to leave the country, where she was given back her passport, and she would have left the country. And now Miss Harris is being punished in this regard. So I want us to start out with that discussion. And I think I want to say here, as women, as citizens of this country, we have been seeing a lot of this happening in recent times, where women have been, you know, victimized for doing their jobs, just doing what they're supposed to be doing. And because somebody at the top didn't like it, because in this case, I'm hearing from good source that Nandalal made the call and said, transfer her immediately. And I mean, if the court says, and the court would have given this woman back her passport, because during her bail hearing for the case that I believe was in around November 24th, her passport was taken by the court as a condition for bail. But in the week gone, an appeal was made, and the court granted her her passport because they're citing serious medical issues. And we live in Guyana, we know under PPPC government, your healthcare has gone to the dogs under the PPPC government, especially when it comes to infant mortality and the death rate of women generally going in for childbirth. And we have this situation unfolding. Let's talk about that. Who wants to go first?
Shanika,
Go
um,
ahead.
I will go first. Let me say this. Last night, I was never so angry. I mean, every single day, these people do things to anger Guyanese, to anger us to the point where you feel like, it'd be like you're losing hope. Because I feel so sometimes. But last night, I said, you know what, Chanel, enough is enough. Now, here you have a woman that was given an order by the court, something that is done all the time. And I can use one person as an example, but I'll just leave it like that. But it happens all the time. As an officer, she has to uphold the law. She's a part of the law. I don't know what they expected her to do. She probably had to throw it over her shoulder like that disrespectful woman the PPP had, apparently. That's what she was supposed to do. Now she's upholding the law. She did what she was supposed to do. Now, I just cannot understand, how does that qualify her to be transferred? What did she do wrong?
Mhm.
And clearly, this can lead to two topics, this conversation today: our health system and the injustices women face in this country. We have a health system that has not been working since March or since August 2nd, 2020. Everyone knows that. The Minister of Health has been in a coma since August 2nd, 2020. Nothing goes on there. I have received several reports from persons who tell me they don't have cotton wool. I remember my neighbor came to me and said he was on the road one day and just started vomiting. Decided to go to the hospital. When he went to the hospital, they gave him some medication. After doing some chest X-ray, they gave him medication, and when he came home and checked it, it was for long-term dementia. And when I turned to him, I said, "Did you check the expiry date?" Lo and behold, when he brought it out, it was expired. So we don't have a health system working for the people. Now, we have where the court ordered her to leave. How in God's name does that cause a situation where an officer gets transferred? And one who has been doing her work, from what I've been told, clearly this government does not care. They don't care. Women or not women, they don't care. I guess you got to be incompetent for them to even want to look in your direction. Because why would you even, and I said this to somebody last night, they don't want it to look as though they're interfering with the judiciary. So they're going after that officer. Because we know we're dealing with the wicked PPP. They would try that. They would try going after that magistrate.
Yeah. Miss Simon, you're muted. You need to unmute.
What's going on? You guys hearing me clearly?
Yes, we're hearing you now.
Now,
Yeah.
since this government came into office, I must say, and there has been nothing but evil and disaster. Every day is something going on. This dictatorship system that we are living under, that they have us wondering and struggling and thinking, and every day we're trying to understand what is going on. It's like from one thing to the next, you can't catch your balance. But there is a saying that goes like this. It says, always the people who are at the bottom have to hold the end of the shitty stick. And that is what is happening in Guyana right now. The poor people of Guyana, the women, our struggling mothers, our struggling youths, the rape every time you turn is something under this PPP government. And as Chanel rightly said just now, we have to come to a point where we all must say enough is enough. And I feel enough is enough. If last night I could have gotten on the street, I would have been on the street, how angry I am about this whole situation. They need to tell us what really is going on with Miss Harris. They need to tell us what really is going on with everything that is not right that they're doing to our women, the people of this country. They need to come out and say something. And we're calling them to order. We as women, we are calling them to order.
MP McDonald. You need to unmute as well.
Shanika, thanks. And ladies, again, it's good to be here with you. I would have wanted to have us here on a better note, but it seems as if we always have to be meeting on occasions like these, very, very unfortunate occasions. And this should not be. Let me start off first by saying women are the pillars of any society. Women are the ones everywhere you go. You check the ministries across this country, the majority of them are women. And the kinds of services that women would have contributed to this society, if we were to add them together, and this is without any bias, if we were to add them together, we would not be able to find numbers to get that number if we were to add the services and the contributions women have made. And I'm starting off on that note to say women must be respected in this society. For too long, our women have been going through all kinds of foolishness. When we talk about strip and slap, we had that threat. When we talk about kneeling and brutalizing women, we have that. When we talk about murdering women, we have that in this society. When we talk about the emotional abuse, we have that in this society. And it has been going on for too long. And I'm saying, as women, we have to stand up. There comes a time, and I think this is the time, when we have to stand up for each other. When we remember what happened in Mocha with Chevron Green and so many other women in that strip there, that Cane View strip, lots and lots of them were women whose homes were demolished. When we talk about success, those homes that were flooded, lots and lots of them were women, lots of them were single parents. When we talk about young ladies being abused, the allegations that led to the resignation of Dharamlal, and so many other allegations. When we talk about being denied their rightful positions in their workplaces, coming to mind right away the late Genevieve Whitened. And then we can talk about those who are alive. The two judges that cannot be confirmed, who are continue to act for several years. Now here we have another incident with another woman, an immigration officer who was in charge of the Timeri booth there. Immigration officer. I think she's a sergeant. She has been transferred. This is the allegation. She has been transferred with immediate effect for
Doing
carrying
her
out
job.
a lawful duty.
She's a
Now,
deputy
the
superintendent.
police's motto, deputy superintendent, sorry, the police's motto is to protect and serve. And so, in protecting, it means you have to observe and protect the law. And here is an officer who is collaborating and carrying out her duty based on an order that was issued by a magistrate. I don't want to know what is the issue with the police force and Brutus. I don't care about that. I am concerned about the injustice that would have been meted. That's what I'm concerned about. When we look at all that is transpiring here, we are seeing women's your husband or child father being shot right in front of you. I mean, when is this going to stop? And I want to ask, where is the commissioner of police on this? The commissioner of police acting. Well, I think Budram has been allowed to do the most. And Budram has got to be called out for the kind of foolishness that he's doing. How is it that Budram is making this kind of decision? Was it that he was given political instructions? Because I know for a fact that the Guyana police force has now been transformed from the Guyana
Into the
police
Guyana
force
political
to the
force.
Guyana political force. All they do is take political directions. When are we going to have professionalism being returned to the Guyana police force? We've seen so many nonsense happening along the way. But today I want to say, in Deputy Superintendent, what's her name? Ines? I can't even remember what's her name. But Deputy Superintendent,
Harris.
I want to say, Harris, you have our full support. We are going to stand with you because this nonsense has got to be reversed. Why is it now? When we look on the flip side of it, if this officer did not do what she was supposed to do, you know what would have been happening to her? She could have been cited for contempt of court.
Yes.
What would have been happening there? You know what they would have said then? The same senior officers, they would have said, an order was given, you should have complied with the order.
Yes.
Now, here the young woman is complying with the order, and whatever is the beef or whatever is the bad blood, let me use that because that seems to be the famous language. Wherever is the bad blood between y'all and Brutus, keep it out there. Allow professional people to function professionally. And so, whether it was Budram or Nandilal or whoever called and made that decision, but how Nandilal called him to make that kind of decision? It's
As a
what's his name? Ben is the minister in
Where is
charge.
he? Mm-hmm.
So Nandilal seems to, if the allegation is true, I figure Nandilal, he probably wants to be a little more, a little relevant again after we would have had all those scandals coming out with him. He seems to want to be relevant again to show that he's doing something. Well, Nandilal, if that is true, you're not doing anything and we're going to call you out because you seem to have a problem with women. And if you have a problem with women, we got serious issues with you. But I'm going to stop here so that my other colleagues can speak. But I want to call on the women's organizations in this country. We either speak out now or the abuse will continue. So let's decide what we want to do, whether we want to continue to have women being abused in this country or we want to stop the abuse and allow professional women to function and allow for the respect when they carry out their functions.
Correct is right. I want to, before I allow MP Nima Flubest to speak, and I see joining us as well is none other than our vice chairman of the party, Miss Elizabeth Williams Niles, is joining us as well. I want to put in something else here as we continue this discussion. It is said that Miss Harris, who is in charge at the Chedijagan International Airport, was not even on duty at the time that this young lady left the country. So the officers that
What?
were working were basically doing their duties as they normally do. There is no blacklist, there is no nothing. The woman presents her passport and they let her go because there is nothing barring her from leaving and already receiving that order. And it is said she wasn't even there. But now she's automatically transferred because she's in charge at the at that at the Chedijagan International Airport. I wanted to put that in as we continue this discussion. Miss Nima Flubert,
No. Shanika,
go ahead.
hold on. You just allowed my heart to carry 5 beats in one.
Me too.
So
Yeah.
Put my
it
hands up at once.
means, it means, it means that with the 5:30 meeting we had the other day, all of those ministers within whose ministries where they have all of those outstanding contracts, they should have been either reassigned or sent home.
Correct. You're right.
Are we
Correct.
saying that sometimes it is good for one set, but it is not good for another set? Is that what we're saying? Or is it because of our ethnicity? I mean, we don't want to go there on many occasions because when we look across the board, the abuse and the injustice, it flies across any race. But this
MP.
kind of thing is now causing one to want to think in a different direction. Let me tell you my experience. Traveling out of this country as a teacher by profession, when I was on contract, I had to have had my letter of approval for leaving the country because my name was on a blacklist. So as long as I present that letter, I am allowed to leave the country. Now, with this approval or this order being granted by this young lady to leave the country, what the immigration officers there were supposed to do. I remember the issue with David Patterson. You remember that? that issue with David Patterson when he was attempting to leave the country when they prevented him, and we know
Mm-hmm.
what happened after then. But this here is shocking that the senior officer was not present, but the junior ranks were doing their duties, and she is being reassigned or punished
MP, MP, stick a pin
for
right
that.
there.
Wow.
This clearly, this clearly tells me that regardless of how she dealt with the situation, she would have been doomed. The people are bent on putting who they believe or who are for them. If they believe, she has been there for years, I've been told. She does her job. She's not politically affiliated in any way because I did my investigating this morning. But the fact that they don't know which direction she will go, and let's don't forget, these people try to control every single place we try to go to. Everywhere we turn, they remove someone. I have been getting reports from the police who every time they see me, they stop me to tell me, oh, to bring this body to put over them. They got how much years of service. But they place people who they can control. That's the reason. That is what they've been doing. All over you go, you're seeing their people. That's just
Miss
one
Nima,
place they're trying to do some work on.
And this is why
Let's
I'm
call it out for what
asking,
it is.
yes, Chanel, and this is why I am asking that they come out to let us know. We need to know exactly what is the reason for moving Miss R. Because now you're saying that she was not there allegedly and she just received a call to be transferred immediately. We need to know what is the reason.
Miss Nima Flew, Beth, MP Nima Flew
Yes.
Beth.
I'm enjoying this, I'm joining my colleagues. I wouldn't repeat all that they've said. But what you've noticed there, just like LaShonda Ellis, who was
Mm-hmm.
working at Home Affairs, a single parent at Caneview, heard
Mm-hmm.
her home was being bulldozed, went home to get her stuff and her child rescued, and then Layard Ben stood up in the parliament to say that LaShonda had a cutlass. I don't forget those things. Caneview was a stepping stone for the I-Pass that we see now. Kneeling down in Chevron's stomach, male police officer.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to Hillfoot on the highway, those single parent, the police officer run and beat up that woman, cough shop, a
Yep.
male police officer. And that is a female. Go to Sarah Johanna. Only recently, one of the ladies was thrown in the back of a police van and taken to the Mary station by male police officer. Go to Peter's Hall. Who they arresting Vashti? Angel. Y'all remember Angel? Going into Peter's Hall for harass Vashti. That she must move early in the morning. Look again in Peter's Hall. Vashti told me the other day, only a week ago, one of the workers, the crane operator, cussed Vashti about your mother, an 80-year-old woman. Now, all of these things we see, and like Coretta mentioned, we can't forget Darmalal
Hmm.
and all the others who continue to attack women. You sit in the parliament and you see the constant attack and abuse of language on women in the parliament. We cannot sit and allow this to continue. Hats off to Miss Harris if she was on the at the time on duty doing her work. She was doing what she's supposed to do. Hats off to all the officers. They were doing their duties. Now this wicked cabal that feel that they got this full authority to sit down and make a decision. They're gonna move this body, move that body because the decision they favor them. I guess the continuous plan is like how they change in the airport with the workers. If you go, the workers have changed a lot at the airport. Only a certain set of people you see working there. Only a certain set of taxis you see because I go to the airport to monitor it. And so probably they now want to set a stage where you will definitely see one set of people at the international airport, the Timeri International Airport when you come in. But I'm saying to our women, we have to stand up. When I saw this thing yesterday, the thoughts that went through my head. Unless we get a women's revolution in this country, these wicked men at the top there, like Anil Nandalan and the whole crew, that continues to be wicked, vindictive against women, they will not stop. And ladies, y'all know if we want to set a stone, we could set the stone right. Because this is not something that should be accepted. And if I was in Miss Harry's shoes, I'd have torn up in my uniform to work at the airport. Let it come and move me from the airport.
Correct. I would have done
They're too wicked. They're too wicked. She didn't do anything wrong. And it's unacceptable. It is totally unacceptable. When I look for my uniform tomorrow, because I'm going to school in my immigration uniform, in support of arrest, my white shirt and my black skirt. They're too disrespectful and calling all the women in Guyana, y'all come out and support Miss Harris. If we don't stand up, they will continue. This nonsense got to stop. And your crew, whoever make the decision, it got to stop. Y'all got mother, y'all got sisters. Y'all come from a mother. That's how you behave. Huh? That's how y'all just behave. This nonsense got to stop. I'm very, very upset about it.
Pack of wicked demons.
Nima Flubeth, I want to hear now from our vice chairman, Miss Elizabeth Williams now.
How do I begin this conversation? Being angry right now is an understatement. I'm being very, very honest. Being angry is an understatement. You know, most of the day yesterday, I was trying to finish school record and do some community work. But somebody came in the office and they said, Elizabeth, you heard what happened with the lady from the airport to check Travis Chase. And I was like, no, I'm not really looking at my phone. Right? And I said, let me go. And I read what was written. And I said, you know, this thing really getting out of hand now. The PPP really, really showing off themselves. And we as Guyanese are allowing them to do what they want to do. Now, a woman who has been doing her job, and if what our moderator has said, that she wasn't on duty, but the officers were on duty, they did what a court order dictates. The law is supposed to be blind. They are not supposed to be seeing the person. They're supposed to be seeing what is in black and white. And if the court dictates that a woman goes through immigration, gets on a plane, who is the officer to stop that woman? But we all know why they don't want that woman to get out of the country. But the conversation today is not about why they don't want to get the woman to get out. The conversation is about the disrespect that these people are doing to a certain section of the Guyanese population. And we must call a spade a spade. Whenever you are a person that is against this government, especially women, the PPP got no respect for women. Let's begin that. Let's begin that. Put it out there. The PPP have no respect for our women. Beginning with Barajak Dio, who said he married a woman. And then, how many years later, said they weren't married. Put that woman out. And you know what? We sat down. We accepted it. That was swept under the carpet. Because what happens with Guyanese people, they just blow up for a day or two. And then they allow people to come and they can say something else. Blatantly, Jack Dio watches you in the face every single day and lies to this nation, lies to the world. And we sit down. Listen to me. They came for that woman. They will come for our girl children tomorrow. They will come for our girl because we are not doing anything. You got that one that sits there who gets one of the second highest vote in the PP parliament, what as they said. And he has a number of allegations against him. The men in the PP and the entire PP cabal has no respect for women. And we have sat down and accepted that. Well, today I am calling. I really don't have a lot to say, because I am so angry about this situation. I am calling on the Guyanese people. The Guyanese, because if they came for her, a woman who's doing her job, they came for the women of Moko. They came for the women of Ilfoot. They're coming for our daughters. And if we continue to sit down and do absolutely nothing, they will annihilate us. That I can't have any other word to say but that. These people will destroy us. I am calling on Guyanese people to understand what is happening. Don't let us sugarcoat, don't let it blindwash you, whatever word we want to put it, and say to give you 100,000 because you ain't getting 100,000. They are doing a lot. They're removing professionals, even in the teaching. Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something. And I'm not ashamed to call this. The last promotion list that went out, I was one of the most qualified persons. And you know what? They're putting their people in place, unqualified people, removing the right people and putting their people in place so that they can control every aspect of this Guyanese society. And we sit down. We sit
Well,
down. We sit down.
Elizabeth, you missed something. Elizabeth, you missed something. They are putting their people there and they are sidelining others. You missed out that
Exactly.
part.
Exactly. The most incompetent people they're putting in the system, right? Now look at that. What blatant, how blatant can this government be? How much more blatant can they be when they will remove a consummate professional from her job, doing her job, executing her job, training her officers under her to do the right thing, and they no decided that no, because they allow them to pass, you know, because they allow them to pass, she must be removed from her job. And then you will turn up tomorrow and you will see one of their own being put there. How much
That's the
more Guyanese?
objective. That's the objective. That's the objective. Let's not
How
forget.
much more
That's the
Guyanese?
objective. I emotionalize
I just
us.
want to
That is
ask
what I
y'all.
want to do.
How much more will we sit down? How much more will we sit down and accept what the PP is doing? You understand me? People are saying, oh, this body is not fighting. It is our fight. It is us as Guyanese. We have to fight. We have to get up and stand against this regime because they will destroy and annihilate us. It is blatant, and I'm calling on all Guyanese. I am calling what the man did to that woman on the iRadio a couple days ago. It is a blatant look, listen to me. I am not rational enough but to express. I am not rational enough to express, but what is happening in this country, it has gone too far. It has gone too far. The PPP, as my mother would say, pass the mark now. And people can't sit down.
Thank you.
Not
I
because of we want to eat and we want to drink and we want to thing. Blink is shut down the Christmas. We must not. People must make this country uncomfortable and ungovernable, one way or the other. The
It's
people must be
already
made
that
to pay.
way. It's already that way. Have we noticed that every ministry in this country doesn't function? No ministry functions in this country. None.
I would like to give Miss Ramfindo now the opportunity to weigh in on this issue. Miss Ramfindo.
Good afternoon, my sisters. Good afternoon to the viewers. I'm quite happy to be part of this discussion because I've been looking at what has been happening for quite some years, not now. If we she was mistreated, the IPAS started since then, and many of the women stayed quiet. However, it is said that there is no more than you can take, or God don't give you more than you can take. It is time we as women, our sisters, stand up.
who are weak, who cannot speak out because of what is happening in this country, what is happening by the present regime. It is blatant. This is blatant with a capital D. I pass. So professionals, as far as I'm concerned, professionals are feeling the squeeze, and we as women gotta get up. This here, my viewers, is not a political stint. This here is a women arms stint, a women revolution. We as women have to get up and represent the other women. Too much. There is so much in all sectors and all corners. Disrespect of all women, regardless of race, religion, ethnicity. We have seen it over and over the years, and it's gotten to the point, the boiling point, where it's boiling over now. We need to get all the women involved. The only way we can come up against what is happening to our sisters out there. It's not an easy thing to look at. It is real heart-rending to see women who have struggled. We women have went through the trails, went through the studies, made our sacrifices to hold positions. And the positions are being denied by other people. You seeing and you know to yourself that they're not qualified. But just because they are TPP supporters, they're given positions. And then we're seeing the failures of the functions of these women that are being placed above those that are qualified. We're seeing it daily in all sectors. Let's look at the human service ministry. What is happening there? Let us look at the public service ministry. Let's what is happening there also. We need to carry the fight, and we need to meet every woman, so as to start the women's revolution against injustice to all women. Thank you, Shaniqua. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Ramsindo. I am seeing we have some other people joining us, but I don't have the direct names at the moment. So as soon as I do, we'll introduce them as well. I see your hand, MP Nima Flubes. You can go ahead.
Yes, one of the things I wanted to touch on, I remember early in the program, you were talking, Chanel was making mention of the health services and health care system in Guyana. This woman who has left the country, gone for medical care, right? I was at the hospital. I normally visit Georgetown Hospital every now and again. I would visit Diamond Hospital. That's on the East Bank here. Up to yesterday, I was in Georgetown Hospital. And you know the kind of services that persons receive at that hospital. If you go for X-ray, you're sitting on two benches to the side of the walkway, and somebody can push out there out of Tom Jones, Arita. And if Arita hearing good, they miss the opportunity to get the X-ray. And they're sitting there for hours. What are we doing to improve health care services in Guyana? What are we really doing? And then you have a government who wants to violate people human rights. We have a right to health care. We have a right to our education. Of course, we see our officer demonstrated that she's educated. She knows what she's about. She didn't buy her qualification. She have her experience. She have her knowledge. And she's able to apply it. We see that. But yet still, even though we see that she can apply, that she knows herself, she understands her duty, we're seeing the hands of wickedness to deprive a woman and many other women on the things that they deserve, the respect. Where is the respect? Where is the respect? I'm calling on women today. Y'all let me dress up. Y'all let me flood the city as officers who working at customs, man. Some black and white tomorrow. I want to know where Miss turn up to work tomorrow because I will turn up there too, well dressed in support
Immigration,
because she's
immigration.
educated. Yes, immigration uniform. She's educated. She ain't a dunce because she know to apply. And that's what we want to see. We really have to stand up. We have to stand up against what we're seeing being practiced. I've given you a list of examples. Even as I sat down, I remember the lady at Success when the tree fell. Who got injured? I think of that woman.
A
Woman,
woman.
the people are going to break down the stands and so and dash them people till the back or wherever there's no light, no water. Who's suffering? Our women. We have to stand up. We have to stand up. This is another wake up call. We have to unite. We have to unite against the wicked actions of a group of people who feel that they're gods unto themselves, but they're not gods. They're not gods. Jessica Yard immediately transfer the woman. I hope all them will listen because I know all them on the program, they're listening. You better immediately reinstate the woman to her position because she
They
qualified for it,
better,
she
they
be
better.
serving.
I am
They
prepared to
better
go on the
reinstate
streets.
her
I am
immediately. She
prepared to
didn't do
save the
anything wrong.
streets.
Why you must
I
be
am
punished for your
prepared to
education?
save the streets. Reinstate that woman. I cannot understand why they would want to remove her for doing her job. You're basically telling her that she must disrespect the court. But don't let's forget that it's a norm with these people. Don't forget what Janet did with that court order. Don't forget. And I want to give our listeners an understanding of how I class our health system under the PPP and why I don't trust them. A few years back, I was misdiagnosed with breast cancer. I'm gonna be very brief on this. Now, I had a lump. They took it out. Georgetown Hospital did the testing. When the results came 2.5 months after, 2.5 months after, they said that I have breast cancer. I went to the oncologist at the hospital at the time. They said, the oncologist said to me, not the consultant, sorry, the consultant. I met with the oncologist and the consultant. He said to me, you come Wednesday, I cut breast, everything okay. He was Cuban. That was his exact words to me. Now you tell me why I should trust the health system under the PPP. Now, after he said that, my family said, look, you are not staying here, you're leaving. Went up to the US, started my first testing. They did a PET scan, nothing. Did another biopsy, nothing. Mammogram, sonogram, everything you can think about, nothing. To this day, they have not seen anything. Thank God. But here I was ready. They were ready to cut my breast off. They were ready to cut my breast off. And if I didn't have options, God knows what would have happened to me. Now, you tell me why I should trust the health system under the PPP. Why? That don't even have a plaster. That can't even give the patient's cotton wool. That giving patients that with a stomach problem medication for long-term dementia. Why? Why? Then when the court ordered her to leave, and that immigration officer tries to uphold the law, you transfer her for that. Now I'm ready for the streets. I am ready for the streets. All right.
I want to say here, right? As we
While we continue to go right
are,
ahead.
yeah, one of the things that I want us to get over to this audience as we sit here and we're hearing the call now. What we are calling for is for one, the government to explain what they did and reinstate her because, as far as we see, there is no grounds for any transfer in this situation. So we're calling for her to be reinstated to her position. with all her benefits, of course, remaining the same. And we, in this discussion, we pointed out that the rights of women are continually being trampled on. And as Chanel would have given her experience with Georgetown Hospital, while some people may say, oh, the court allowed Miss Brutus to go or whatever. These are the realities that women are facing in this country, and she's a young woman. And I will say, if the court would have permitted her based on what was presented to them as women, as a woman for myself, and I'm a woman who've had 3 children, all via CS, and it hasn't been an easy road doing anything in this country in terms of medical care. We cannot just sit back and say nothing. And another thing that was brought to my attention, and I believe by a reliable source here, is that she would have also experienced in this very country a miscarriage, a woman who has never had a child other than that miscarriage, and she wants to protect herself from being in that position again. And we are calling for the government to allow our laws to work. She has been, Miss Brutus has been charged, allow the court to deal with what it's dealing with, and leave Miss Harris out of your nonsense. A person in the comment just brought up, and it was something I wanted to raise, where the constable was assaulted by Carl Singh's son, and she was sent home after being assaulted in the most disrespectful manner.
Yes, he
And you
spit
know
on that
what?
girl.
You
Spit
know
on that
what?
girl.
Guyanese women and our men, our defenders, while all these things have been happening, we have been sitting and just talking. And what we're saying here today on this forum, that we are willing and ready to do more than just sit and talk on these issues. And we are calling you, the citizens of Guyana, you, the women of Guyana, to come out and support whatever action is taken. And we're merely giving the government one day, one single day, to rectify this madness, because we will not be taking any of this disrespect to the women of Guyana any longer, and to the citizens of this country. And I want Guyanese to understand, as well as we do this, we know, and we're here to protect your rights. We understand the level of victimization, and this is another example. And that some of you are afraid to walk out and afraid to come out. But I'm saying to those who are not afraid and those who have nothing on the board, to come out and let us do what is necessary to hold this government accountable. We can sit here, all the women here. I'm sure we all have many of stories of how this government has victimized young people, young women, young men, black women, black men, Indian women, Amerindian women, all across, because they simply don't fall in their 3Fs. Because they do not fall in their 3Fs. And it is time that we, as citizens, as women who understand the burden and the struggles more than many, because it is us who have to make everything work in our homes, that we deal with this. And you know, I want to make this point because I saw as well someone mention it in the comments. This young lady, where we saw a video footage as well, surfaced this weekend as well, I believe it was Friday, where she was being stabbed on the side of the road, is also a display of where we stand as a country. And I say this always, what is there, whatever is on the head, it comes down. Because you know what? We have a government who do not respect women. We have a government who do not care about women and that are willing to do anything to them. And we have a government who don't care if you don't have bread in your mouth today. And these are the kind of situations that leads to what we're seeing. These are the kind of things that leads to the death and the murder of women in this country. And a system that does not hold persons properly accountable because they're rotten from the head. And we have to call them out because it's not just when they do it in the political system, it goes all over because you see that A get away with it and you think you have some money or you know somebody, then you can get away with the foolishness that you're doing as well. Like we saw of what is alleged the murder of uh, a gentleman on the East Coast in Traspe by a businessman. And if that did not come out to lie, this businessman would have not even been pulled into the court. And these things are happening because we have a government that is wicked, deceitful, they victimize, and they care nothing about anybody else other than themselves. And we are calling our women
You,
to action. We are calling our women
you
to
know,
action. Go ahead, LT.
Shanika, I have to remind us because very often we tend to forget these things. And I've learned over the years that those who forget the past are condemned for the future. I must remind us that this very wicked PPP government, the treatment that was meted out to Carol Smith Joseph, Valda Lawrence. What's her name from GCOM? You remember when they locked her up and placed her in a cell at BV? A cold cell
Correct. And
with
she was
all
sick.
kinds of madness happening in that cell. A dark
Roxanne
cell.
Myers.
Yes.
Roxanne Myers, yes.
Roxanne Myers. We have to remember these things. We have to remember the kind of vulgar things that was said to a member of parliament, Kathy Hughes, vice president, whatever he be, Barra Jagger, when he called her a low life. You remember that? We must remember what was done to the former chief magistrate, Laron Daly. You remember when she was abused by the attorney general because in his mind, she was taking too long to do whatever with all these fabricated charges that they would have brought up against these people, Carol Joseph and the whole crew of them. We got to remember these things because if we don't remember these things, they will continue to happen as what is happening right now. We have to remember this entire society is in chaos under the PPP government. I remember the issue. As a matter of fact, we know Ministry of Education in shambles. The 5:30 meeting told us that. Ministry of Housing in shambles. The 5:30 meeting said that to us. Ministry of Youth, Culture and Youth Sports and Culture in shambles. The 5:30 meeting told us that. The Human Services Ministry in shambles. The 5:30 meeting confirmed that to us. But let me say this. We had a scandal that involved the PS at Human Services. What happened? She sent in her resignation with immediate effect. And to this day, she has not been dismissed, but she has been re-employed at another location at GRA. Y'all remember that? The pension book scandal and the disability scandal with the books that were being photocopied and cashed. You remember that? To this day, we can't hear whether there was an investigation and if anybody was punished. But Fiona Harris, Deputy Superintendent Immigration, has been punished for carrying out a lawful duty. You know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting to see what the statement is going to be. Reference
I
Chief
thought
Magistrate
it would have came
Faith
by now.
Augustine. Waiting. I am waiting. Shame didn't come out yet. I am waiting. We have seen coming out from GCOM by their own admission that it was a mistake to have had Asha Kissoon in the parliament. I hear a sound from Anil Nandalal, the man who speaks about vexatious and this statious and that statious and all the statious. I hear not a word from him. And that is why I am saying, like I said earlier, is this only about one set of people? When I look at the Ministry of Education, we got an officer there by the name of Marcia Paddy who has been sidelined. Carol Ben, sidelined. So many officers within the ministry sidelined, and we putting our friends, our foes, our favorites, and our families square pegs. A lot of them square pegs in round holes, and we got to speak out against these. Women are human beings. We have feelings just like any other. We have a right to belong to this society and to air our voices and to perform our duties. And when we do that in the correct way,
But let me
we should
ask a question.
never be punished.
MP, where are the women in the PPP party? Where are the women?
Come on, Chanel.
They
I
wear
Come on,
skirts and
Chanel.
dresses, but I'm not sure that they are.
Come on.
They,
could
I am not
could I
sure. But the thing is,
It's
and
just
like
a
you
shame.
rightfully pointing out,
It's
the
a shame.
Darulal issue, not a word from them. Not a word
A
from them.
word,
But you know what?
not a
They
word.
are quick. They are quick to throw a whole lot of statements out when you have issues pertaining to them and you have to condemn them. I remember during the teacher's struggle when the teacher said, Priya is a wild hog. They were all upset from Gail right down. They were all upset, and Priya is a mother, and she is a daughter, and she's a wife, and a daughter of the soil, and she's the honorable minister, and she should not be disrespected. But you could
So who is Miss
disrespect other
Aris?
women.
So who is
It's
Miss
okay
Aris?
for you to disrespect others. So apparently, Miss Harris, Fiona Harris, is not a daughter. She's not a mother. She's not a sister. She's not a wife. She's anybody. So you could disrespect her. Again, I want to say loud and clear, Fiona Harris, we stand with you. And even if it means that we have to come at Timeri and stand with you, we will stand there with you. If we have to stand with you on Camp Street, we will stand with you. If we have to stand with you on Brick Dam, we will stand with you, because this kind of nonsense has got to stop. And you know, it's amazing. When these things happen, the rat that's gone in a hole. The chatri, he probably looking for the sun to bear. The others, you know, when these things happen, you don't hear a word from the Human Services Minister, you know. You don't hear a
No,
word from
no.
them. She is supposed to be looking after the welfare of the people of this country. Not a word you don't hear from her. And, you know, I get very upset. And I don't normally like to talk about religion. But many of us are sheltering under religion, and we are hypocrites behind those curtains. Hypocrites behind those curtains, because we allow all kinds of injustices to be meted out to people, and we say absolutely nothing about it. And that is why I want to say to our listeners, when they come to your communities, give them a hard time. Chase some of them if possible. Don't let them come there to talk foolishness. They love to come into your communities to come and hug up your little daughters and take out pictures with your little sons. And they're wicked like more than Charon Das. We got to stamp
Miss
them out. I remember how Jagdeo said when he was opposition leader, we will not allow this. The country will become ungovernable. Women, this country, we got to make it ungovernable for the PPP, because they must understand that we are the ones who are there to lay the tablecloth. We are the ones who bring the juice and put it there. We put the vase on the table when you're having all kinds of meetings. We do the decorations. We cook the food. We do almost everything. And you must respect us. Much more when we are professionals and we are carrying out our duties in a professional manner. You must not politicize our duties. You must not politicize what we have to do, because once we continue to do that, Guyana will continue to slide down the slope we're sliding down. You know, as we speak, many women, if we were to reflect on that helicopter crash, lots of women are today without a husband. Lots of children are today without their fathers, and we can't bring closure to that. You know, as we speak, 20 families are without their children, and not a sanction was given to the Minister of Education nor any senior government official. But our indigenous brothers and sisters have lost their children, 20 of them. And nobody is saying, well, oh, this one was on duty, that one was not on duty. But they were given a report many, many years ago to take those grills off the dorms. They didn't take it off. And
MP,
so children are without their brothers and their sisters. Mothers are without their daughters. And then you want to come to tell people that you care. And like Priya would always say, in service, you're right, in service to the devil. Can't be in service to humanity. Could never be. When they come to our communities, viewers, and don't let them tell you about this 100,000, because you see this 100,000, it gonna come near time for when cartel come in, and so you could go and spend it out at the cartel show. Then is when you're gonna get the 100,000. They ain't got no intentions of paying that 100,000 to the people here on the coast in a hurry. They're waiting for when cartel come to pay you that money. And by right, the money is yours. Take it. But
MP,
understand
And
that we have to stand today.
one
MP,
second, Miss
just to remind the
Ramsindo has been
viewers,
waiting for a while. Go ahead.
MP, just to remind the viewers, out of those 20 deaths, 19 was women, 19 is females.
Mhm.
Then we had
Yes,
the um,
yes.
REO shooting of the Armenian girl in Letem. And then
Mhm.
not only that, the disrespect that is being displayed in Parliament to the female MPs by the ministers, which is being seen in public.
Yep.
People are saying that that is where part of the disrespect is coming down. So other people are trying to disrespect us.
Mhm. Mhm.
I want to
So
talk
we,
a
as
little
women,
about,
One
I want
second.
to
go ahead.
say a little on, make mention of a little about our immigration officers. Those of you who are back and forth or traveling, our immigration officers are working at Chedijagan International Airport or Ogle, wherever the borders. These people are working. They are working for the same salary, all the hours they are pushing in. 6, 7, 8 hours, 4 or 5 flights. Sometimes they're going in there at 6 in the afternoon, or maybe and they're leaving until 6 the next morning. Not they are not being paid an extra cent. One
Mhm.
extra penny. There is no overtime
That's
for the
true.
immigration officers shift. So you see this level of wickedness that the PPP is meeting to our people. And I'm going to say it again, the level of wickedness the PPP is handing down to our people, the poor people of Guyana, all the public servants, our working and our not working citizens of this country. I think it's time we all come out and say enough is enough.
This is not.
Those immigration officers are not being paid
Mhm.
overtime for the hours they're sitting at the airport or those borders. They're not being paid overtime. And we are asking again for the government to come out and let us know what is the reason for moving Miss Harris. And we need to know this ASAP because we are calling. In fact, we are going to take the streets on this one. Enough is enough.
All right. I somebody else I saw wanted to say something else, or were you finished, Miss Ramsindo? Because I know you were up for a
Yes, I
while.
was.
Okay.
The others,
All
go ahead.
right.
The other part, the other was mentioned.
All right. I I want us to, as we wrap up this program today, because we're long gone
Shanika, I
past the
noticed
hour.
Nima wanted to say something.
Oh, go ahead, Miss Flubes,
I
before we
noticed Nima wanted to say something.
Yes,
Yes, I have it.
Anil had time to make calls according to what we're hearing. I wonder what he's doing about the recent stabbing of the woman on the highway, action which we condemn. I hope he there deep into the investigation to ensure that justice is served for that woman who was brutally stabbed. And we see some swift action, seeing that he had time to disrupt a woman who is being punished for being educated. This thing, but this education getting to me, A woman who's educated and experienced in her job is being immediately transferred for doing what is right. So I hope Anil and the crew gonna we see immediate justice for all the women who in the court system awaiting justice for months, awaiting justice for years. Under the PPP, Anil got enough jobs, got enough work to do that we can see some swift action. Because if you got the time to make calls to make somebody be removed from their position for doing what is right, then we want to urge you to do your job and ensure that justice is served to the many people in the system waiting for justice. We will continue to stand with Miss Harris. Hats off, Miss Harris, girl. I got to reach you up and get a big hug. Hats off to you for standing up and doing what is right. Whether you were on the job or not at the time, hats off to you. You got to be very special that if you weren't present on duty the hour, and then they still make a decision to remove you immediately because you're the senior rank in charge, hats off to you. You got to be very special. But we will continue to stand. Guyanese, tomorrow, I'll dress up. Let me dress up in the loud black and white and walk the streets. We want to see action on that. Thank you.
Um,
some Miss.
Shanika,
Go ahead.
panelists, I want to say something in my closing remarks.
Is it Chanel? Chanel, you wanted to say something?
When Liz is finished.
DC is speaking.
Yes, I want to say something in my closing remarks. I am begging, I am pleading with everybody who is listening to this program that as we finish this program, they're going to come off and they're going to call their friends, their family, their cousin, uncle, auntie, everybody that they could call. And they're going to tell them that it is not one set of people got to do this fight. We all have to come together and fight. We all have to stand up against, because I am saying this. I'm burdened. I am burdened for our country. I'm burdened to the point where like I'm going crazy. Because what we are seeing, if we don't do something, these people are going to wipe us out. These people are going to wipe us out completely. We can't look at the little 100,000. We can't look at the little thing they give them because they're going to come to places like Agricola and I call them because they're just running Charles Ramsey is running Agricola. The commissioner is running Agricola. And they just give the little handout. But they ain't giving nothing to develop Agricola. They ain't doing nothing to develop our communities. All they're doing is destroying. And if I talk something more, they're going to know it's coming from. They're destroying our communities. They're destroying, they're coming and picking up the young women. We talk about the abuse of women. They're coming and picking up the young women and carrying them to a certain spot. So we young women, all that we young women becoming now is workers of the night. And y'all sitting down. Y'all sitting down. And we are allowing these people to continue. We're good for the goose, better for the gander. I am begging everyone to get up and stand up and let us fight this government. Like to run and say, oh, the opposition ain't doing nothing. We are the opposition. We are the opposition. We are the ones whose children are being annihilated. We are the ones, and we got to do something about it. So I am begging everyone as you come off of here, call your family, friends, neighbors, everybody hearing my voice around here. I live in a residential area, and everybody hearing my voice. When I finish, the army, big one at the back of me, she can call me. The captain of the army, she can call me, she can say, Elizabeth, I heard, and I tune in. And you're right. I am asking everybody to get up and let's do something. Because the little petals these people throwing at we, y'all go down Diamond. Go down Diamond Road, Diamond Access Road, and y'all gonna see what I'm talking about. Heroes Highway where the tech we people them are for. Look what they're doing. And what we getting? We gotta be security guards. We gotta be security guards and prostitutes to this nation. When our forefathers and mothers work for the development of this nation, and we're going back like slaves in this nation. No, it must not happen. So I'm begging everyone to stand up and let us fight this wicked cabal, this wicked regime. If one of us is affected, all of us will be affected. Before I get me blood pressure up more and bust
Thank
a
you.
vein, let me shut my mouth.
Thank you very much, VC.
So,
Uh,
Shanika, if you would allow me one last minute, I just want
mhm.
to urge all of us to post Miss Harris on your Facebook page. If you can't put her on your status or your DP, post her on your Facebook page and caption it. We stand with you, Miss Fiona Harris, Deputy Superintendent. We stand with you. If all of us
Send
can
us
do
a good
that,
picture of
then
her.
by itself that by itself will send a message. Women, you must know your worth. And when you know your worth, then the things like Barajagdio and them can't make rings around you. So women, know your worth. And our men folk, we would want to see you joining us on this call too, because women are the ones who rock the cradle. Thank you.
Thank you. I will have Miss Ramsindo give her closing remarks, then Chanel, then Miss Simon. You're muted, Miss Ramsindo.
Thank you, Shanika. I just want to share a little story that bothers me concerning a woman, a single mother that has to do two security jobs to maintain her family and has been running to housing for quite some time. And every time she goes there, they send her way up the East Coast. They give her a land there. She tried to explain to them that she's a single mother. She had to move from Peters Hall to a rented apartment in Diamond. Imagine that woman has to work two security jobs to maintain her family. Women, ladies, we are the revolution of any country. We are the ones that mold, build a nation. And it is time we get up and represent our sisters because too much for quite some time disadvantage. I pass at as according to the grassroots talk. We have been enduring I pass for quite some time, and it's time we stand up and show them our worth, especially this government that is dealing with this country right now. Thank you, Shinko.
Welcome. Miss
You know,
Chanel.
last night when I saw the news on saw it on Travis Chase rather, Robin and I were back and forth. We were so angry. Like I think both of us like we were like actually losing our minds last night. This is something I don't usually do. When persons ask me to come on programs, I prefer to watch and put my opinion underneath the program. But this, I had to come out. And I'm not here because they're going to say, oh, they're making it political and this and that. I am not here as a
Uh-huh.
PNC activist.
Mm-hmm.
I am here as a fed up Guyanese.
Woman,
A fed up
woman,
Guyanese. A Guyanese woman who
woman.
is tired
Yeah.
of seeing the injustices meted out to our women. If they don't respect the women in their party, in my party, we respect ours. Y'all know where the vice is there. This is something I will never condone. And I urge all Guyanese, this is not my fight or a Norton fight or a Hughes fight or a Robbins fight. This is our fight. Once it affects one person, it affects all. Yesterday, Harris. Tomorrow, who? Don't forget, people, we have the power. We are the people who go out there to vote. We have the power. That's all I will say.
Thank you, Miss
You know,
Robert Simon.
you know, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to everything, all wild up, ready to war. And I remember when a wanted bulletin was issued for me by the Guyana Police Force for act of terrorism because I joined a protest for a young man who was murdered. A very good friend of mine lost their son to the cold hands of dead by members of the Guyana Police Force. I remember being placed in the penitence lockup for 3 days, 72 hours. How hard, how hurt it, how I felt as a woman who stood up, and it is my right to protest. And because of that, I spent 72 hours in the penitence. Comrades, it was hard for me. It was so hard for me. And now today, we are sitting here debating on actual issues, more discrimination, more hard times people are facing. We are talking about things we are suffering and experiencing, health, um the disrespect, all of this being added to us by this PPP government. And it is not right. It comes to a point now where we have to be careful what we say, where we go, who we talk to. This is how this government wants us to be. You cannot speak openly on your phone. You cannot go nowhere in peace. It's always something. It's like people are just looking at you from every time you turn, like all eyes are on you. And the real focus, the things that they should be focusing on as a government, they are not. They're not focusing on the people of this country. They're focusing on their friends, their family, their favorites, the contracts. You married a PPP man, you get a contract. You married a PPP woman, you get a contract. Everything is about them. And they just want to
You're a
uproot
PPP
and
minister, you get
disrespect
contracts.
and exactly and disrespect. But the Bible says something here. It says, the fear of the Lord is true wisdom. And he who hath it not can in no way have love or penetrate or feel the love of God. And this government don't have God in their heart. But I got God in my heart.
Mm-mm.
And I have feelings. Miss Harris could have been my sister, could have been my mother's daughter. She could have been my friend. But you know what? We are sisters by strength. And I am asking that when the time or when the battle cry or when that voice is gonna sound and say that we need to be out there, we are going out there. I do hope all Guyanese are ready because you are quick to say we're not doing anything. Boots on the ground. Well, we are ready now and we've been doing everything. We have been working. We've been out there village to village, street to street, region to region. But you know one thing you all have to remember? We cannot pause everything because we have to protect our citizens from being discriminated. They are working. The minute you go to take out a
Yep.
picture with a citizen, they turn their backs. They say, Miss, don't do it. They don't want to lose their job. These people are afraid to be seen talking to a member of APNU or talking to a PNC member. This is the
Yep.
way this government has our citizens of
Yep.
this country. They're not free, but it's done today. Because by tomorrow, if they do not tell us, the citizens of this country, the Guyanese women of this country, what is the real motive or reason for moving Miss Harris, the cries and the voices will be heard. That's all I have to say, comrades.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Thank you very, very much. I think this was a very fruitful discussion. I mean, there are so many things that we try to unpack. But you know, when a government like the PPP is sitting, you can never fight all of the cases and all of the experiences because there are too many under this government. And the thing about it, you know, before 2015, people thought they saw the worst of the PPP. But we're here at a point, and it seems that, you know, it is beyond some of the things that we saw. And you know, Miss Robin made the point just now. You don't, people are not, they're not free to speak or to talk. And I you know, one of the things that I've noticed of recent is that everywhere you turn, they put cameras now that are listening to you as well. They're not only watching, but they're listening. But we are here to
Mm-hmm.
say, as women and as citizens of this country, that the time has come that we will no longer sit down and count the numbers in terms of disrespect and victimization. Because from 2020 to now, thousands of workers in the public sector alone, to start with, has been victimized. And we don't want that number to continue piling as we enter into 2025. We are saying to you, our viewers, that this is the call to action. And we are saying to
Yep.
you that when that call
Mm-hmm.
is made, after we give this government one day, which is tomorrow, to say what is going on and to do the right thing, we will take the necessary actions thereafter.
Yep.
So that's our
Yep.
call to order for today. That is why we sat here today, because we want you to understand that we cannot take this any longer. And as citizens, we must come together. We have seen the trail, it's one after the other. It has to stop somewhere. The bus
Mm-hmm.
stops here. This is what we are
Right here.
saying today. The bus stops here. So I urge you to stay tuned, to follow our platforms, the People's National Congress Reform page on Facebook, the APNU FC page on Facebook, the APNU YouTube channel, and all the other channels that carry the information. Stay tuned and let us do what is necessary, because this country and our generation and the generations to come cannot condone any more of this. We have to do something, and we must do it now. I want to thank
Now.
the panel for joining today. It
We
was an
want
Now.
them to
honor
know this is not going
to
to
have
be
you
our
here.
last one. This is not our last meeting.
Correct. Correct. We'll have many more of these as we go forward. I want to thank you for coming on. Of course, I want to thank the viewing audience, of course, for being a part, and of course, for interacting with us even in our comment section. And we will continue to do this. And as I said,
Mm-hmm.
stay tuned as we make our necessary calls. We're giving them one day, and that's tomorrow. And then we'll let you know the actions to be taken. Thank you, and I hope you do have a pleasant afternoon.